Good evening, good evening. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for your patience. It's going to be an amazing night. We've got some amazing speakers, and we just want to firstly say thank you all for being here. My name's Jacqueline Brown. I am the Business Support Programming Manager here at the British Library for the BIPC. And the BIPC is our Business and IP Centre, which I'll explain a bit more. Tonight is our Inspiring Entrepreneurs event, and the title of tonight's event is Building the Black Economy. I know, controversial, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're here to celebrate Black History Month because it's still October and we're still in Black History Month. And we're here to celebrate Black entrepreneurship and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs, whether you're black, white, yellow, green, purple. We just want to inspire you with some amazing businesses. So this is the first Inspiring Entrepreneurs event we've had since 2019. Can you imagine that? I don't know if any of you have been to any of our events before. If you have, just raise your hands and show me a bit of love. Oh, look, a few people. That's good to see. That's good to see. Well, you're welcome here again. It's so great to have you here. So the Business and IP Centre, it welcomes everybody from all walks of life. If you want to start up, if you want to grow business, if you want to protect your business, which is really important, this is the place for you. We help you with gaining access to markets, market intelligence, intellectual property resources, even one-to-one advice and mentorships. We have some great events and workshops that my team which are here tonight, which we are all doing together to serve you and to help you to build your businesses. So since 2012, we've been building, as a team, a community of BIPCs, and we now have 21 across the country, which I think is amazing, across the UK, which I think is amazing. Don't you think that's great? We've got 21, and they're all are part of our libraries across the UK. So with that, we want to just invite you to our centre, which is on the first floor. So if you are here, come and use it. If you want to organise events, if you want to just have a meeting with people in your teams, this is a space for you, okay? We say that we've heard that with our surveys that we do, that you're more likely to be successful if you use our services. That's what our surveys have said. 90% of our businesses are still running after 3 years. You know that quote that most businesses will fail after 3 years? Well, 90% of our businesses, those that come through our services, are still going and they're running and they're being successful across the board after 3 years. So I think that's amazing. So I want to celebrate the team and all that we are doing. So with that celebrating, I want to have a big shout out to those on our live stream. We've got our BIPCs in Lewisham, in Greenwich, Liverpool, Manchester, Brighton. So I want to say hello to you guys. We see you. Nice to have you here with us. As well as everybody else joining online. We just want to say welcome once again. Also, we'd like to say a big thank you to our sponsors who are supporting this event, which is Barclays. As part of the Reset Restart program that we're doing with them, it's designed to help you to overcome obstacles and to thrive in this current economic climate. And we all know, right now, with everything going on, we need some extra support. So I want to say thank you to Barclays for those who are here today and those who may be watching on the live stream as well. If you want to tweet about this event, you can use a hashtag BIPC or hashtag Inspiring Entrepreneurs. I know it's a long one, but you'll work that one. But if you can use that, that would be great. And just to give you a quick overview for tonight, what to expect. So we're having a panel talk with some amazing speakers. After that, we're going to have a fireside chat with our keynote speaker. Then we're going to bring the panel speakers back up for a Q&A. So if you have questions, please hold back on them, write them down, or just put them in your phone just to remind yourself, and then we'll have a chance for you to answer your questions. But most importantly, the most fun part, you can win a prize, because you know what's going to happen. If you fill out those papers that we have put so nicely on the chairs for you, then you fill those in, the feedback. Tell us what you think about the event so that we can know how to make the events better and stronger and what you want. If you fill those in, then we're going to put that into a prize draw. And all of our speakers have offered a prize, and you're going to be able to chance to win that. They will pull it out, and then you'll be able to have a chance to win that tonight. So I think that's going to be amazing. So yeah, after that, it's all about networking, nibbles, drinks. Yes, there's alcohol. So for those who are here just for the alcohol, then there's going to be some there for you. So I'm going to say thank you all once again. Thank you to an amazing team for the British Library and the BIPC, for Barclays and everybody else that's joined us tonight, and for you all and our amazing speakers. With that, I want to hand over to our moderator. Please welcome Kai Shaw. Kai is an actor. Please come up, Kai. Thank you. Woo-woo. Kai is an actor who is also co-founder of theatre company New Theatre. Who has collaborated with the English touring theatre company Anna Bush Theatre. I don't think he celebrates himself enough with that. He's been on multiple stages. If you know, I'll let you explain. He's been on multiple stages like Lion King and so much more. Yeah. But this is Kai Shaw. I say thank you and over to you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Jacqueline Brown as well. An amazing woman. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for coming. And thank you to everyone who's on the live stream as well. Sorry, guys, the Deliveroo budget, it didn't make it, so you guys aren't going to get the nibbles, but it's okay. Hopefully, you can enjoy the chat either way. You're probably wondering, why is an actor here as well? You were talking about entrepreneurship. Honestly, I don't know either. I'm just here for vibes. I'll be realistic, yeah? Look, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the amazing speakers, the inspiring speakers that we have here today. So, up first, without further ado, can I please have Rachel Chumasi-Corson, please? We can do better than that. Come on. Thank you. Rachel. Here she is. So, Rachel is CEO and co-founder of Afrocentrics. At 19, Rachel co-founded Afrocentrics, which is an award-winning ethical startup that creates safe, effective, vegan-certified products for Afro and curly hair. So please, again, big round of applause for Rachel. Next up, we have Emmanuel Asukwo. Emmanuel? He's really looking at me like I can't see. Give up for Emmanuel, please. Emmanuel is founder of the E-Man Effect UK. He's a renowned financial advisor, media personality, wealth-building entrepreneur, and an international speaker. Hello.
Where do you want me?
Just there, it's fine.
Oh, no, I've got you.
Don't worry, Next up, please give another big round of applause for TJ Atkinson. TJ, where are you? There you are. So TJ is a property investor, specializes in transforming homes into beautiful, creative masterpieces alongside growing his outstanding portfolio. TJ supports people in his community with getting them started in the property ladder. So big ups to that, because you know we're in a cost of living crisis, so we really need someone like TJ. And finally, last but definitely not least, we have Indy Gordon. Indy, would you come up for me, please? Thank you. Now, Indy is head of programming at Foundervine and is also the founder of, honestly, one of the most groundbreaking apps I've ever heard of and seen, the Halo Safety app. And she aims to empower today's and tomorrow's companies, ensuring they're tech-enabled and can weather the storm of any social, economic, or environmental change. So, again, thank you for all of our speakers coming here today. I'm going to take my seat. Firstly, everybody, how are we?
Good,
right?
good, man, we're good.
Yeah, this is England. Normally I make a dry joke about the weather, but it was actually all right today, so we'll skip that for now. All right, so we're actually going to kick off with you, Indy, if that's okay. Wow.
I love it.
So happy about that. So, Indy, as we all know, the Black Lives Matter movement prompted the rise in black enterprises that we've seen grow since the pandemic. And not only that, but the movement has also powered a lot more interest in supporting them. So, Indy, do you see this current rise in interest toward black-owned businesses since the pandemic to be ongoing?
Yes and no.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter 2020, COVID was a heavy moment for us all.
Absolutely.
It was one of the most impactful times of our lives. And something that came out of that wasn't just COVID and the movement of BLM, but what also came out of that was information about how black people in business are treated and the lack of support that they get.
Absolutely.
So as more information was coming out, statistics like 5.4% of businesses that are led are only led by leaders that are diverse. There's such a small number. 0.2% of VC funding actually goes to women, just 0.2%. Staggering numbers like that came out, which meant that actually everyone felt like they then needed to go and support all of these businesses, put their part in, do their parts. But what came out of that, it became a bit of a moment. And we're not a moment, we're a forever. Like we have built and we're building. And so I say yes and no because, yes, because we are still in a moment and we need to ensure that we have everything we need. But no, because we are not a moment. But what I would say about that is it's important that we enter into what I like to call the villain era. It's the era of we are powerful, we deserve, we are working just as hard, and we should be unapologetic about everything we own. So absolutely, yes, a continued thing. But it's only a continued thing if we choose to continue to be the driving force for the future. We have to be the ones to champion continued success in businesses and ensuring that all businesses feel empowered to thrive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, and your work that you do is absolutely follows that motto, and sort of going on from that, how does your work equip Black-owned businesses to maintain business sustainability in an ever-changing market? You know, especially with the, here it comes, the cost of living crisis, especially with the recession that we're entering into as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Founder Vine's core mission is to break barriers to innovation. Our number one priority is to empower the leaders of today and tomorrow to create the businesses that won't only shape now, but will create legacy for the future. And so the way we can support founders during this cost of living crisis is to give them access to absolutely everything they need, and we do that for free. We empower startups, we empower people that just have ideas, we empower people that are scaling, and we make sure that they know that on their journey to success, because it will be successful, that they are not alone, and they do not have to do that off of their own back. So we do everything for free, from introductions to master classes to opportunities to tools. We are here to guide you, not to get anything back, but because we know if we serve you, you serve the future. So.
Amazing. Or where can we find out more about that information specifically?
www.foundervine.com.
There we go. Where I didn't see any notebooks. You lacked. All of you lacked. Terrible. Terrible. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to come to you now, Rachel. That's all right. How are you?
I'm okay.
Wonderful. So, e-commerce specifically has grown as an industry exceedingly well since the pandemic obviously kicked off. And it's proved as a great opportunity for Black-owned businesses to create businesses that are specific to our needs in the Black community. So at this current moment in time, why do you feel selling Black cultural products, specifically for Black hair, is within the Black community has become even more important than ever before?
Sure, I think that it's always been important. But there's a recent increase in awareness, perhaps.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Afrocentric started, over 12 years ago, and it's really surreal doing this event now. Because I remember being up in the Business and IP Center trying to access, the Mintel databases for free, because I was a broke student, and reading about Black hair care. And at that point, Mintel had a report about Black hair care that was based on speaking to, in fact, does anyone want to guess how many women Mintel spoke to give, the industry standard? This is everything you need to know about Black hair care. How many people? I heard 50. Any other guesses?
Else? 10?
Any other?
1.
You guys are in the right range.
Oh, wow.
33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got a clipboard to, look official, and went with a friend outside the Afro Hair and Beauty show and spoke to 100 Black women. And I remember doing this little jig like, hey, beat Mintel, only 19. And now there's more recognition of, the power of the Black pound, of the amount that Black women spend on their hair, not because we're more vain than any other groups, but it's twofold. One, the cultural importance of our hair, And two, the fact that most of the products out there are trash. So we kind of have to be product junkies and try a lot of stuff until you get to Afrocentrics, of course. That's where the search starts. That's what my customers tell me. So with the Mintel-based growing, that's been really interesting because it's gone from, they've spoken to 33 women to now their most recent report is based on speaking to 900 black women.
Amazing.
That's decent, right? Yeah? Except the Afrocentrics data is based on speaking to 32,000 people, right? So you can see again, beating Mintel, it's kind of my bag now. And through doing that, I've been able to keep a close eye on the trends and on the growth. So the Afro hair market is huge, right? It's worth over 46.8 billion globally, right? And you'd think that a lot of that must be the US and Europe. Quite a lot of that is actually Africa. And across the Middle East, which makes sense. I mean, there's over 3 billion people with Afro hair, and yet products directed at Afro hair are still seen as a niche, which is super weird. And I think one big thing that's changing recently is people are realizing that some of the big companies can't be trusted, right? The stats tell us that 76% of products that are targeted specifically towards black women contain all these nasty toxic ingredients. They're linked to fibroids, right? So for years we've been saying, oh yeah, black women get fibroids more. It's our hair products. How ridiculous is that? Linked to cancers, linked to reproductive problems, linked to breathing problems, linked to skin problems. And for me, it took burning all of the skin off the back of my neck and having scabs all over my scalp from relaxers for me to start thinking, maybe these companies don't have my health and well-being in mind, and move into other avenues. And what we found over the years with Afrocentrics is we have so many customers now who just got to the point where they don't trust the industry because people who are making this stuff, they don't look like us, they're not using the products, their families aren't using the products. And people who would only mix their own stuff, they will buy from Afrocentrics, right? Because they know I use the products, my husband, my kids, my whole family use the products. And I think it's important for more than just our community, right? So with Afrocentrics, we've got Chinese customers, white customers, Asian customers, because they want effective, ethical products that, you know, that are safe, right? That are good for their health. So I think that when you serve a community that's been ignored, you tend to find gaps in the industry and make it better for everyone altogether. And you see that across, you know, you asked me about kind of, you know, African cultural goods. You see it across the range, so from fashion to makeup. I love looking at like the Fenty effect, right? Rihanna decided, wouldn't it be nice for black women to be able to find a foundation match? But that also helps your, you know, your Irish woman who's super pale and redheaded, and she can't find a tone to match her. So when you look at the groups that are most ignored and you bring out maybe interesting fashion items or makeup items or hair care or solutions for ingrown hairs, for instance, you end up making a better personal care or better fashion industry for everyone.
Absolutely. Amazing. So, come on, clap for that. That was amazing. So with all of that wonderful wealth of knowledge that you have, how best can a new startup business navigate the online retail industry to get started?
Do a lot of research. I started off upstairs in the Business and IP Center, which I definitely recommend because there's just so many reports you can access for free, right? I would say then just go out there and start speaking to people. So even though the question's about e-commerce, with Afrocentrics, the first few sales were in person at market stalls. And I remember standing pregnant with my first child. So this is a little bit after uni at a Christmas event thinking, what am I doing with my life? But I look back and the insights I got from those conversations you have at market stalls, they're priceless. It's hard to replicate that online. But what you can do is you can take the, you know, human interactions that you have offline, and then you can build processes on your website that match the flow. So you might notice, so for instance, with Afrocentrics, I found that people would start with a problem. So it would be, my scalp is itchy, or my hair is breaking, or my beard is patchy, right? And they wanted to know.
This is why I shaved still.
We're bringing out a beard balm, don't worry.
Thank God for the change.
And They didn't want to know, oh, okay, we've got Swish and it's award-winning and it's been used by this celebrity and it's been on that show. They don't care, right? I can't start with the features. They want to know, how does this product solve my problems? And they want to know back it up. What are the facts that convince me that these benefits will actually be delivered?
Absolutely.
So the way I deliver that online is we've got a quiz on our website. So anyone can go on afrocentrics.com and you can take the quiz and it will give you personalized, tailored advice.
Wow.
So it will give you blog posts, it will also give you product recommendations. And then if you need more help, you can then, even if it's 2 a.m., you can click a little button and speak to our chatbot. That was one of my nerdy lockdown projects. And the chatbot, I studied trichology after my law degree. So the chatbot has studied trichology. The chatbot has everything you need to know. And then if that doesn't work for you, you can speak to someone on live chat or pick up the call during our working hours. And I found that actually not everyone needs that depth, but you need to have it available for people who have tried everything, for people who are really struggling. So I would say that whatever you're doing with e-commerce, start with research and end with serving your customers' needs. If you're serving your customers' needs, they will keep coming back. And that's what you want. You want a business where you're not constantly having to find new customers, but you've actually put something out there that is solving a problem, so people will come to you and they'll tell others.
Absolutely. Amazing. I just have one very quick sort of cheeky personal question to ask, because I'm a big fan of your story and of your brand. So I know that in sort of the inception of Afrocentrics, you yourself cracked open a little chemistry kit and got to work and, did all that. Do you still do that?
Yes.
Hey.
So yeah, it started off, it was actually quite funny. So I wanted to be a doctor, and then I had a death in the family, and I realized I don't deal well with death. I probably shouldn't be a doctor. So I randomly did a law degree instead. But I did sciences at A-level, right? And I loved chemistry. So I've always seen myself as a bit of a chemist. My chemistry teacher used to give me, so like in high school, I'd finish my work early, and he'd give me like uni-level chemistry work. I lived with scientists at uni, like computer scientists and chemists, and I was such a nerd. I wanted to see their lecture slides and just like talk about inorganic and organic chemistry, right? So science was a big love for me. So when I started talking to a friend about my bald patches and my itchy scalp, we then hit the library, did lots of research. I've read about different ingredients that are really good for looking after your scalp. They're scientifically proven, but they're also natural, and our ancestors have been using them for millennia with good reason. So what did I do? I ordered beakers, petri dishes, pipettes, and I just sat there like mixing different essential oil blends. I still do like the essential oil blends to come up with scents for our product range, and I'll still jump in the lab to do R&D or work on briefs. But now I've got my first R&D cosmetic chemist on the team. She's been with us for 2 years this week now, which is great. She came on board as an intern and has kind of worked her way up, and we're building out that team. At the moment, I'm still in that team, so you will catch me in my lab coat in the lab, but now it doesn't button over my belly, so I need to take a break from the lab.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still very much involved in making the products, because they're going to be used on my babies, right? They're going to be used on you guys, I hope. And I feel a personal, like a moral obligation to make sure that they're made to a standard of excellence.
Absolutely. That's amazing, man. We love a hands-on business owner. We love it. Yeah, man. My greatest science achievement was I left a Bunsen burner on too long and then he suffocated the class. So that was fun. All right. Thanks for that. Emmanuel.
Well, I was just going to sneak here and smile.
Nah, man. You're here for a reason. What? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. So there's an old adage, an old saying that in business, cash is king, and we've all heard the term money talks, right? So your expertise, Emmanuel, focuses on financial literacy and understanding how money works. So recognizing the power of the black pound, as it were, can you share some of the financial realities of starting a business today, in today's ever-changing market, and can you also give some insights into how and where the black community spends its money?
I don't know how I got this question, My goodness.
Because you're the money guy. That's
This
why.
question is so serious. So, in regards to like cash is king, I think that's something that people talk about a lot. But I think one of the big thing for me is that as a people, we are very good at working hard.
Yeah.
We have been very good from long. My mum used to work so many jobs. My dad used to do the same. We know how to work hard, but we don't know how to make our money work for us. And so for me, it's about now that transition. Okay, we know how to make money. Okay, we can make it, but how do we actually now to start make money, make work for us, and make it so that we don't have to continue to work? You know, Warren Buffett's famous: if you don't find a way to make money work for you while you're asleep, you have to work until you die. And some of us are working till we're dying. We're getting to 65 and we can't afford to stop. Let's carry on. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, what are we doing? Like, what do we have to show? So for me, you know, business is a way for us to take the money that we might be employed and make money and look at other ways that we can make our money work for us. And so I think it's really important for us to really look at it. And from the question, go back to the question. I've rambled.
No, you've been great. You've been great. It's just sort of, you know, what are the sort of financial realities of starting a business in today's changing world?
I think the hardest reality, especially for young people, is social media. Because people think once they've done limited company on, you know, they've got the limited company certificate, they're done. You know, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. It's a lie. It's a lie. You haven't done anything in life yet, please. So I think that the hardest thing is actually understanding that you have to go and do the work. We're in this society of, you know, work smarter, not harder. It still requires work, either way.
Absolutely.
But I don't think people want to do the work. They don't want to do the work. They just want the adulation. They want the joy, they want the likes, they want the comments, they want the private jets, they want that lifestyle. But the reality is that there's work to be done. And I think in business, I always tell people, when I started my business, for the first 3 years, I could have made more money being employed than self-employed. Do you understand? And it's painful. You wake up every day, you work more hours for less money, and your wife is looking at you with these kids, saying, what are you doing here? What have you done to us? We used to go on holiday, we used to enjoy. Now, all of a sudden, you're working all these hours. Like, it's a lot. But today, I'm at a point now where I live on my own terms. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
And what I used to get paid over 2 or 3 months, I can make in 1 hour too. But that takes work and commitment. And so there's an effort to it. Do you understand? And there's a sacrifice. And so for me, what business has done is allowed me to live life on my own terms. Right. I grew up in poverty. Like, I grew up from nothing. I grew up being told when to go to school, what lessons, what work, when to go to bed. Like, sometimes you go to bed just because there's no food. Like, my mom will send me to bed. I know you're going to come for a snack. Go to sleep. Like, you know when you tell your mom you're hungry after 8 o'clock, go to sleep. Close your eyes. Do you know what I mean? If you're hungry, drink water. Does anybody know about that meal called water? Yeah. That meal after lunch, after dinner, called water. Yeah, that was life. Do you know what I mean? And now it's like I live life on my own terms. I get to see my kids. My dad never come to none of my recitals. I remember I used to play basketball. And my dad, Dad, you gonna come and watch you play? You think I got off all the way from Nigeria here to come and watch you play game? The concept just didn't make sense. But now I get to be able to be active, like pick my kids up, like spend time with them, do stuff. And so it's that flexibility that's available, but also, you know, being able to do it on my own terms. I worked in financial services, employed, you know, and I was the only black person. All my clients are white, all my colleagues are white. I was just living in this world. I'm just like, where are all the black people?
That's right.
No, I'll see them when I get home. You know, like when you go to work, you only see them when you get home. You know when you get home, like you know when you're in your area. Like, oh, here you guys are, because you're nowhere. You're not in the city. No, where we're making money, none of you are there. Right. Do you know what I mean? But and so it's like it's one of those things that now I can have meetings in a hoodie. I used to have to wear a full suit and tie, even when it was hot in Barclays. I'll never forget those days. They'll be like, oh yeah, you can undo your top button. In the heat, that was a privilege. But now you get to do things on your own terms. It's that freedom. But also it's enabling people that there are people that will come to me for financial advice that maybe wouldn't feel comfortable in other environments. Yeah. And that's the importance of what you do when you create your own business, is that people can now feel that it's possible. People now feel comfortable. And so I always say business is so empowering, so uplifting. And then when you go into what do we spend our money on, I think for us, when you don't have something, when you grow up not having, I remember, like, when you grow up not having, you start to buy the things that make you think that you have, yeah? So I'll never forget my dad, like, the day that he bought that Mercedes, you know? He bought his first Mercedes, you know, end of church, when everybody was doing the final closing prayer, he's gone outside, you know, he's brought his car to the front of the church, you know? So that when everyone comes in, hey, you've made it. Everyone must know. Like, but when we start to understand that we're already valuable, like we're already important, we're already special, and actually there's no car, there's no house, there's no holiday that can add any more value to you. You're already valuable, and the value comes from inside. All of a sudden,
Come on, come on, man. Come on, man.
I said, come on.
like all of a sudden, life is different. Like when I understand that it's not the designer or whatever that's gonna make me more important. And I think that's where we're trying to get to as a people, like, and really understand it. So that's what, for me, business, that's what money, that's what wealth does.
I agree. Let me just hide my Jordans quickly. But yeah. Word. Yeah, no. Right, I've got to ask you one quick question, just because it goes around the internet, I think, once every 4 hours. 100K or dinner with Jay-Z?
Oh, Lord.
Come on.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, but you're the finance guy.
I'll take 10K. Are you crazy? What? Give me 10K. Dinner with Jay-Z's in the toilet. Come on, forget it. Give me the money, man. Give me the money. I come from nothing. Sorry, please.
Hey, everyone, you heard that here
I come
first.
from nothing. I need that
Don't
money.
take the dinner. Maybe me, but don't take it. Love, man. TJ,
Hey.
coming to you now. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. That's what we like to hear. TJ, we're talking about money, of course, and your business, TJ, focuses on leveraging to build assets within property specifically. Can you share the ways that you've learned and now teach others about how someone can convert this knowledge into actual assets for the black economy?
Okie doke. What I'm about to say usually takes me about 2 hours. I'm going to condense it into about 2 minutes. So I'm going to speak really, really fast. So I'm preparing you guys very quickly.
So you got a bit of time.
We've got a bit of time. All right, cool. Let me sit in it for a second. Over the last 10 months, I've bought 7 properties. Yeah? That's a clap, guys. Yeah?
That is,
Yeah?
You're gonna request
By the end of this year, I would have bought 10 properties. That's another clap, guys. Yeah? So,
you don't need me, guys. I'll just...
So the point I want to make is this. Who would love to buy multiple properties every single year? Just raise your hand, let me know. Yeah? Cool. There's a problem. I don't think most people are ready. So I know I was brought here to teach you guys how to buy multiple properties, how to build generational wealth. I don't think we're ready. If you want to make money, you've got to understand money. So I did research, similar to what Rachel was doing, apart from she's a scientist and I was just making up fake data. But the point is this. I did some research and I found that we spend 46% of our week pursuing money. Every single one of us here. Going to work, waking up at 5, leaving the house at 7, going to work, sitting with Sarah, Jackie, I can't use Jackie, sitting with colleagues that you don't like, yeah? And then going back home, and it's the same cycle. 46% of our week. Further research. I found that people over 40 in the last 10 years haven't spent 1 hour to understand or learn anything about money. I can ask you guys this, not to embarrass you. Who sat down in the last 10 years to actually sit down to study money and understand money? But yet we pursue it. And we spend 50% of our week pursuing it. But yet we want to be wealthy. Oh yeah, we want to buy multiple houses. How can you manipulate? How can you win? How can you control? How can you dominate something you don't understand? When we look at certain footballers, when we look at artists, when we look at the people who are doing well, guess what's attributed to them? Time, practice, skill. But yet, the thing that we all pursue, we don't understand it. So I want to give you guys a very quick rundown. Before we talk about buying properties and so and so, I want to show you how to actually make money, how to create wealth. So you're probably going to want to write this down, so I'm going to whiz through it. Number 1, starts with understanding money. Understanding money means understanding just the foundation, which is inflation. Most people don't even understand inflation. Just the notion of having money means you're losing money. If you have money, you're losing money because the value of your money is going down. So most people say, I've got money in the bank. And I think it was Tion Wayne. I hope no one knows him. I don't want to get beaten up. He says, I've got more than $1 million in savings. Where's the young people here? Who knows that, yeah?
I know, yeah.
He's got more than $1 million in savings. It sounds great, but it's ridiculous. You have £1 million in savings. Next year, it's worth £900,000. You've got to make sure your money's working for you at every single opportunity. So that's number 1. Understand money. Study money. Money is a thing. Money is a concept. You've got to understand it. Money needs to rub shoulders with other money. Money needs to be in interaction with other money. Money in isolation doesn't make money. Money needs to be talking, hey, yo, money, what are you up to? And money says, this is what I'm investing in. That's why, you notice, the black community, we don't talk money. Other communities talk money. And they say, what are you investing in? Oh, bro, I'm doing this. Or sis, I'm doing this. But you guys want to be the first one that makes the money, and you want to be the one that makes it all. So you've got to understand money. When you understand money and you understand that money is a free-flowing concept, you then start budgeting money. I'm not the biggest fan of budgets, but what you want to do is you understand that money will escape you, money will disappear if you don't contain it. So you start to budget so you know where your money is and how to allocate it accordingly. When you start to allocate your money, then you save some of that money. Again, I'm not a big fan of saving specifically, but when you're learning about money, you want to make sure your money is working for you. So during the saving period, put your 6 months, put your 3 months, put 12 months, depending on your personality, of emergency funds. Make sure the rest is invested. Make sure every single penny that's available is making you at least 1 pence, because you're trying to beat inflation. You can't create wealth if you're forever leaking money. Many of us make money, as Emmanuel was saying, you're making money, but your palms are open, so it's leaking. But you're working 60 million billion hours. And you wonder why you're going around in circles and circles and circles and you're not making money. So that's number 3, learn to save. Number 4, you start to invest. And I believe you should invest in short-term positions, medium-term and long-term positions. Make your money work for you. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Now we start to talk about wealth. Number 5 is leverage, which was where the question was. Sorry guys, I went around and around, but that's just... You want to leverage, and in my opinion, it's probably the most powerful thing that you can learn to do. Leverage means you borrow, you use, you capitalize on somebody else's time, their resource, or their money. When I made the statement that I've bought 7 properties in the last 10 months, it's not because I'm super rich. I'm okay. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm able to work with people like you guys. There are people who've got £10,000 sitting in a bank, but you're making £100 back per year. I go to people like this and I say, hey, if your money's not working for you, let me utilize it. Let me build my asset. Let me buy multiple properties, but I give you a better return on your money. That's leveraging. So rather than me doing what most people do is you get a little bit of money, you save, you buy 1 property, you're excited, but you've got to save for another 10 years to buy a second one. How do you create wealth when you've got to wait every 10 years to accumulate an asset? When all you've got to do is speak to your neighbors, have a conversation, go to church. That's where I raise most of my money. Go to church, talk to aunties. Aunties are working 12 jobs, sticking money under the mattress to send back to Nigeria. On the way to Nigeria through Western Union, I collect that money very quickly. Yeah? The point I'm making is that's leverage. And then it goes back. Emmanuel stole my quote. I was literally going to start with it. Warren Buffett. If you do not find a way to make money while you are sleeping, you will work till you die. But the only way you can create passive income means you're no longer involved. You do the hard work and you can step back. And leverage allows you to make money in different ways, different opportunities, while you're no longer there. So if we want to talk about buying property, owning assets, before we can do that, you've got to understand money, understand its functions, understand its personalities, understand how to captivate it, how to capture it, how to use it, how to bend it to your will. Otherwise, money will run away from you, like it's running away from many of us. Cool? Sorry.
Wow.
I just wanted to add on.
Oh, don't beef me, bro.
No. I love what you said. I just want to add on the budgeting part, because I meet a lot of people that I don't like to budget. Budget is not nice. We need to understand what the problem is. The problem is not with the budgeting. The problem is that you're broke. You have an income problem. Yeah. Sometimes we want to blame things that is not
views budget. Do not represent the views of the BIPs.
No. You have to understand. People that have money don't have problem budgeting. Your problem is not the budget. Your problem is the lack of income. If you increase the income, trust me, you'll love budgeting. Yeah. You'll love it. You'll enjoy it. Yeah. So let's understand what the problem is. Because people that I don't want to budget, I don't like budget, I don't want to look at my credit score.
Ain't got a piece.
These are things that have to be done. Understand what the problem is, and then actually let's go and solve it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. TJ, very, very quickly, because I know the time is slightly starting to escape us. You spoke about, obviously, budget the money first, then save. Let's say we've done those 2 steps. Let's say we're okay, yeah? In your opinion, what are some of the better short-term investments, mid-term investments, long-term investments that, in your opinion, work the best in this, especially in this current?
So I'm a property guy through and through. So again, as much as I mentioned before, put some into short-term, medium-term, long-term, I think every investment should always be looked at on a long-term basis. I hate talking about short term because especially in our community, we love the short term stuff. So let's get that out of our head. Put any money somewhere for the long term. It might go up, it might go down. Long term, it will go up. Does that make sense? But if you wanted to talk, if you forced me to talk about short term, I would talk about buying a property, doing it up, selling it. That's the shortest term. Outside of that, you buy a property, you hold on to it, you get the rental income, and the value goes up as well. So you can play in between both of them. So I call it 2 in 1. So you buy 2 properties, you hold them, you sell the third one, which gives me cash flow to buy another one and another one. So 2 in 1, 2 in 1, 2 in 1. Yeah?
Amazing. TJ, man, thank you so much. We're going to come back to the ladies very quickly, if that's all right with both of y'all. So visibility is always very important for businesses, for growth, profit, just to be seen, obviously. So how important do you two believe that the ever-growing use of social media is today, specifically for building Black-owned businesses? So whoever would like to start?
I'll kick off. Very important. So it's harder now to be visible on social media than 12 years ago when I started Afrocentrics. And initially, Afrocentrics was a blog, a YouTube channel, and a Facebook page, right? And we were selling maybe like 10 products a month. Now we sell thousands of products a month, so it's grown. And social media has remained really important. So there's the paid side, which I have very mixed feelings about, which I'm not going to go into that. But the organic side is really important. So who here has a business with a website? Quite a few people. Okay, so you're familiar with SEO, search engine optimization? Yeah. So when Google changed their algorithm a few years back, and an SEO tip, I would say just focus on what Google are doing because the other search engines just kind of copy Google, essentially. When Google changed their algorithm quite a few years back to the Hummingbird algorithm with things like latent semantic indexing, they also started to look at, okay, how can they index social media? And one of the big changes made was things like increasing your SEO ranking. So increasing your domain authority, which is basically the score your website is given that helps you to appear on the first page. So if you search Afro Haircare, you're going to find Afrocentrics on the first page. And part of that is down to social media. So one of the things that the algorithms like is accessibility. So if you've got an image, you want to put alt text there. Alt text is important for 2 reasons. The most important reason is it makes it accessible. It means that if someone is visually impaired, that they can still understand what's happening because the image description can be read out to them. That's the point of the alternative text. But it also can be indexed by the Google spiders that crawl your page. So that's really, really important, right? And if you're doing all those little details, essentially, if a social media platform has a box for you to fill something in, fill it in. It will help your SEO. And also, the algorithm within the platform itself will give you a bit of a boost. So at the moment, the thing that's big is short form content that fills your whole phone screen. So TikTok videos,
Reels.
YouTube Reels, YouTube Shorts. That is where I would focus. And that's quite a big shift. I don't really love doing those videos, to be honest. I find a lot of my videos quite cringe. But they do well. Every now and then they go viral, and I'm like, oh, please don't bring this to my feed. I want to watch the E-Man effect. I don't want to be seeing my own face. But authenticity is really important on social media, and social media is still a quick way to connect with people. The basics still stand. Use your hashtags, post frequently, make sure you're sticking to a topic. I'm not always great at that, as you can probably tell. I find too many things interesting. But with Afrocentrics, of course, I talk about hair care. I also sometimes will talk about business. I'll also sometimes talk about like Black history, Black culture. But again, I'm speaking to the same general audience. And funnily enough, that means that if you've got, for instance, a white mother with mixed race children, she will still consume that content. She'll still build that trust because of the authenticity. And she'll get to the point where she's like, let me try it on my hair too. Then it works. Then she's telling her friends about it. And then you're spreading to a different area. So sometimes we feel like speaking to a niche, I say niche because Black people are not a niche, but it's a story for another day. Sometimes we feel that speaking to just a small specific audience can limit us, but actually what it means is you hyper concentrate your story you give yourself the best chance to be authentic, and that's so important on social media, and it means you cut through the noise. You get known for one specific thing, and then over time, there will be network effects that mean you grow beyond that. So I think social media is still massively important, but you just have to be a bit more clever about how you use it than you did, 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely. Indy?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think social media is vital. However, what I will say is that since COVID, social media has become a platform that every business needs now. But what happens is that people assume that if you have 1 million followers on social media, that translates into 1 million sales. That is not the case. Building followers on social media doesn't mean you're building a community, and you actually need to know the difference, because it's the community that are going to keep coming back.
Right.
They're the ones that you need to feed into, because they will buy your products, they will take part in your opportunities, and they will keep coming back. So it's important that actually your offering is for your market, and that actually you understand the difference between just growing a social media platform, which can also get you sales, but you also know that you have to do the work to engage with those people deeply to ensure that actually you don't just bring them back, you don't just bring them in once, but they keep coming back. So I'm a firm believer of picking the platforms where you can truly make an impact and run with it. Now, I'm also very cringe. I've just entered TikTok, and my content is very, you can do this, I believe in you, which I do, but it is very cheesy, but that is my space as a founder, as a leader, as an investor. I want people to know that I am here to serve them. And so I will continue with that content until my community builds and I keep seeing the same people come back and come back and come back. Because that is when I know I've converted a follower into what I like to call family. And they will buy my product and they will buy me. So it's really important that actually you use social media in a way that builds you and your brand, and not just kind of like, celebrates it, because anyone can celebrate, but you want the family that will come back and celebrate each year, each moment.
Amazing. And then very quickly, for the both of you as well, again, it's quite actually a big question. What do you see coming up next for Black enterprises? Indy?
One thing I see coming up next for Black enterprises is investment opportunities. So like I said in the beginning, there's a thing that's currently happening in the sense that there isn't enough investment opportunities for Black businesses. COVID kind of happened and loads was thrown into Black businesses at that time. But what was happening is that money was thrown at people, but not the knowledge and the understanding. And we're now moving into an era where actually people are doing the work. They're starting to really understand what they've been given and how they've been given it so that they can leverage it in the right way. And the biggest part is all around investment and funding and knowing what you're worth and what your business is worth, and not allowing people to give a certain amount to take a certain amount. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how businesses over the next few years take the money, the advice, the knowledge that they have built, and they actually feed that into their business, and they create the innovation that changes the world. I'm very much a firm believer in being unapologetic and actually creating things that causes chaos.
Hey.
We're all going to thrive in chaos. Chaos isn't a bad thing. It's a space where actually you get to decide how you work, how you live, and you get to do it in whatever way you see fit. So that's something I'm very much looking forward to.
Rachel?
So I think the natural evolution has to be towards more collaboration and more partnership, more kind of lifting as we climb.
I agree.
And I think historically, because of what the Black British experience was, we're not that far from the 60s where there were no blacks, no Irish, no dog signs. We're not that far from the 80s where a political party that I will not name ran with, if you want an N-word for a neighbour, vote Labour, and won on that slogan in the 80s, right? none of that stuff is that long ago, okay? And we're not that far from things like being called the M-word in the street. I've experienced that myself. There's been a lot for us to overcome. I think what's new is there's a new recognition of essentially the racism in the UK, and we're moving past it because people think, wow, that's terrible, I wasn't aware that's happening. But you've also got people more polarized than ever. So for every kind of Black Lives Matter, there's an All Lives Matter, and there's someone who's upset or takes that as a threat to their existence, right? And I think the way to move past that, and I think our next speaker will probably speak on this, is if you want to have kind of social change, and if you want to have social empowerment and you want to deal with the fact that there has been historic oppression, you need economic empowerment.
Absolutely.
And that speaks to looking at who you're hiring, making sure you're genuinely given equal opportunities. Just because someone is Black and runs a business, it doesn't mean that they are immune from, you know, the implicit biases that might mean that you won't hire Black people because you think they're just not as good, right? It means that in terms of investment, as Black investors, you know, as we follow these tips and get our money up, we're looking at Black businesses to invest in. And it also means that different businesses, so even in this room, I hope that tonight during the networking, there'll be lots of collaboration. And it will go from, oh, I've got a hair business, so do I, therefore we're enemies and we can't talk, to how can we work together? Because clearly our audiences will be interested in what each other are doing. I think that's so important now more than ever. And if you look at other marginalized communities, a lot of them have been able to move out of you know, a position of really community poverty and get to a place of you know, comfort or actual wealth by working together, by saying, okay, you know, I know I'm from X background, I know other people from X background have it hard, so I'm gonna make a concerted effort to try and make sure my supply chain is other kind of, you know, marginalized people from my community. We don't necessarily do that so much. So you hear the phrase like crabs in a barrel, and I really do think we're moving past that, but unfortunately slowly. I've been burnt. In some cases, you know, sharing information, thinking, oh, we're gonna work together, and then there's a stab in the bank, in the back, and it's
The bank as well.
in the bank too, both. And it's kind of tempting to take that as, okay, therefore I can't trust people. But we have to rise above that. We have to see it as, okay, well, to be honest, it's hard out here, right? When I raised venture capital for Afrocentrics last year, we became the 9th business run by a Black woman to raise VC investment in a decade.
Whoa.
Right? But I think that's disgusting. Thank you for the clap. I think that is disgraceful, right? I don't think that's good. Like, I'm proud of myself, and I know I had to work so hard. And even like my white male friends who run businesses, they will turn around and say, I don't understand why you're not getting investment. You're making more money than us. Your pitch deck is better. Your customers are so committed. If you go on our Trustpilot, people are saying, Afrocentrics changed my life. I'll buy anything from them. I only use Afrocentrics. And then investors will be like, oh, I'm not too sure. It's a niche, you know? And when your white male friends are pointing out that there's injustice, you start to think, oh, yeah,
Maybe
there is, right? And what's really difficult even now is that less than 0.003% of venture capital funding out there is going to Black women. And I think for Black men, it's like less than 2%, right? It's a very low number. The odds are not in our favor. So what we have to do is recognize that and kind of work together to lift as we climb. So I'm very, like, I've got like a Medium blog, and I'll just be open about the journey and post stuff to share with other people. And I'm quite proud to say that at least 3 other Black women have come to me and said, I've now raised investment following the steps in your blog post. And we need to do stuff like that. One of them's actually a competitor, but I didn't mind, because I was like, do you know what? Makes it harder in a way, but actually let's grow the market together, right? Let's go after this. So I hope it's more partnerships, because we need partnerships. We need collaboration. We kind of need to support each other. And then we need to be looking at other marginalized groups to support. So knowing how difficult it is for us, who else is it really difficult for, you know? How can we lift as we climb, get to a certain level, and then pay it forward and help other people. Because ultimately, when it comes down to it, there's an equal distribution of talent, of ambition in this world. There's not an equal distribution of opportunities, not at all. But we can help each other in this room. We can share the opportunities we've been given. We can share the knowledge we've been given. And I think that's going to make a big difference over the coming years.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Sort of, you know what? This is sort of a question for all of you, actually. Maybe the gentleman can start us off, depending on how much time we have as well. But sort of that kind of notion of rise as we climb and uplift each other is super important. And I know that in the States, a group of investors came together to set up a sort of group of community of black-owned micro homes. One of them was a former NBA player. One of them was Booker T. Washington. So how important do you think it is specifically here in Britain as well for black people to come together, not only for change, but also to, you know, be the change that we want to see and to step up?
I can jump on that. My friend and I, or business partner and I, we've got this goal of buying a street. You hear all the rappers talking about these kind of things, and he's big into rap, and he was like, yeah, you know what, bro? Yeah, let's buy this street. But let me give you a quick story. We went to view a property once, and we're coming out. The estate agent's with us. I'm here, he's here. And as we're walking past, someone's walking past, old man, and he does little monkey signs, you know, just, we know what that means either way, like, ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. And then he starts to do this spear throwing sign. We know what he's saying. He said, ooh, Zulu, Zulu, Zulu. And again, we know what he's trying to say. The estate agent's getting angry. He wants to fight him. And he's saying to us, why are you not angry? Why are you not? I'm like, if we fight him, then it's just going to perpetuate another narrative and so and so. So we said, you know what? I'm petty. Let me not lie. I'm petty. So I decided this is what I'm going to do instead. My friend and I, and Emmanuel knows him also, we decided we were going to buy every single house on that street. And that's the sort of pettiness that I want us to have in our community. If you're going to be petty, yeah? And if you're going to be petty, you might as well make money from it.
I love that.
So far, we've bought 7 properties on that street. So going to answer your question, we do something called one for you, one for me. That's how we leverage. When I ain't got no money and he's got money, we use his money for me to buy a property when it's my turn. When I've got money and he doesn't have money, we use my money to buy him a property. So far, we've bought 7 properties on the same street. And in fact, one of the reasons he's quite excited, which for me was quite cringy, I own a property at number 13. He owns a property at number 11, and we're actually next door neighbors. Now, to you guys, it's not a big deal, but every single person on that street is recognizing us. And some people are not happy because the blacks are coming to buy the neighborhood. But yeah, that's the sort of pettiness. And I go out of my way sometimes to get on their nerves, so they leave so I can buy your house. Yeah? So when we're talking about, I talk about this a lot, leverage, leverage, leverage. Even if you make a lot of money, you're going to run out of money at some point. You're going to run out of money at some point. Find somebody that also wants to build with you. Find someone that has the same goal. As Rachel just mentioned, competitors, yeah, turn them into collaborators. All it does is it broadens your marketplace. So for this guy that I work with, there are certain people that like him, and there are certain people that don't like him, and there are certain people that like me and certain people that don't like me. But we've now got 2 heads, or we've now got 2 feet in that area. So some of his marketing campaign works, and I end up buying a property. Some of my marketing campaign works, and he ends up buying a property. The point I'm trying to make in a non-long-winded way is, find someone or find a group of people, come together and buy property. You don't have to be that one person. Again, Emmanuel talks about this all the time. We're all trying to buy in London. You ain't got the money for London, go outside of London. Yeah? You all want to own asset in London. It's gone past it. It's done, it's done, it's done. Yeah? Go up north, go to Birmingham, go to Newcastle. Buy the properties, but do it together. One for you, one for them. One for you, one for them. In a space of time, you've got 10 properties. You're good to go. Spend it all. Do what you want at that point, but you've got the assets. I'm the biggest believer. Emmanuel and I were talking about this. Make money. Sounds irresponsible, and Emmanuel's going to tell me off afterward. Make money, but blow some money as well. Live your life. Yeah? Because some of us look at our parents. I worked hard so you could... Mum, you worked hard so I could have a good education, but you're not happy. You haven't lived a good life because you've worked and worked. So let's change that narrative. Live your life a little bit. Go on holidays. Yeah? Let's make it. Do you know what? On a count of 3, I want everyone to shout this. I hope I don't get sued for this. But on a count of 3, I want everyone to shout, no more Ryanair. 1, 2, 3, no more Ryanair. Yeah? Let's up the levels. Let's get some money. Yeah? Cool. Thank you.
I can't. They were good to me this summer. Ryanair, if you're seeing this, I'd love a partnership. Let's make something happen. You know what I mean? I'd love an ad. Manuel?
Yeah, I think I've got a video on social media where I talk about group economics and the fact that when I talk about group economics, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like group. Can't trust people. But you know, we tend to use group economics quite a lot as a people. I don't know if you go to the club with the man them. Everybody puts the money in, buys one really big bottle, and then everyone takes turns to take a picture, like you're posing with the FA Cup, or like you just won a trophy at Wimbledon or something. And we're very good. People in Dubai, not knowing that you're sharing one room, but you're taking the pictures like you're all living this boss life. About 5 men in one bed, toes in your nose. No one's talking about the reality. No one's talking about the reality. We're just out here living life. I think for me, it's about understanding that we're stronger together. I think we have a culture where we are very happy having 100% of nothing. Absolutely, yeah. We fight for 100% of nothing. That's true. And it's like, I will meet sister, and sister will be like, I want to buy a house in London, I'm on 25K. Like TJ said, it's not for you. It's not for you. You can't even get a parking garage. I don't know what you're thinking. Do you know what I mean? And then brother in the same house on 25K too, wants to buy in London, yet they never thought once to buy together. And for me, your first limited company, your first business should be your family. And when I look at other communities, like I said, I'm lucky. I grew up around Jewish community and the Asian community. I grew up in Tower Hamlets. And their first business, they work together. My Asian friends get married and they're moving back in. In Africa, the second you're married, you're out. Whether you got a house, listen, it's your business. You want to get married and leave this place. Actually, they get married, and it's not that they got the solicitors, doctors, and they're living in their parents' home, buying property and still living at home because they understand, this is my home, this is my base, this is my limited company. This is mine, I'm going to inherit this. So why am I running away from it? Absolutely. And so for me, it's a totally different mentality. Like TJ was saying, for a lot of us, we are trying to do stuff and we have the right ideas, but what we forget is that we're doing it on our own. I speak to a lot of wealthy people, really wealthy. And they will do business with each other even when they don't like each other. And they'll be like, I don't trust him, I trust the contract. I don't need to like him. Does the contract protect me and my interests? And is there money to be made? Let's get it done. And you get your first job and you're already on Rightmove and Zoopla looking where you can rent. Like we hear, I have so many people that you drive at A-class. And you live in your mum's house, you share a room with your brother. I've got guys, you're 35, you're on a bunk bed, and you don't think you need to change your situation. The biggest thing you need is Yeezys. That's your problem. Yeezys are your issue. Why are you living in a bunk bed at 35? I got top bunk. This is wild to me. This is wild to me. But we accept it. We accept it. These things are not accepted in other communities. We accept it because it's all about packaging. As long as when we come out, we look like we're doing well, we're doing well. I need us to start challenging people. Listen, you work like part-time, less than 16 hours. How are you on holiday 3 times a week? What are you doing? Mum, you know your child doesn't have a job. How are they giving you money? Can we start to challenge these things and really start to say, how are these things happening? Because all this money that we're making, that we can't, there's no accountant that's touching it, there's no tax being paid. It can't be used. Do you know how much times people come to you? Yo, bro, I've got the deposit, I've got the 10%. How do you make your money on the road? What can I do for you? What do you want me to do? Really, what do you want me to do? You need to pay tax. Like, you think you're being smart, I don't pay tax, I don't give my money to the government. Then you want to get a loan and nobody wants to give it to you. And you say racism. How can it be racism? It's your own foolishness. So we need to start understanding how the system works. And so the great thing is there are so many examples here of people that are doing well and people that look like you and come from backgrounds like you. It's now about networking. It's now about reaching out. There's no more excuse I don't know. Because in fact, there's too much information. You can Google everything, you know? It's now about looking at who can I relate to, who is where I want to be, let me reach out to them, and let's do it. Let's use social media right. There are some people that use social media, and for me, I only follow people that make me feel better. If you're following someone that makes you feel worse about your life, please unfollow. That's your world. You can control that. You know what I mean? And please spend more time on LinkedIn than you do on Instagram. You're gonna, and these are small little changes that you will make in your life, and you'll see the difference will be so much. So yeah, I hope I didn't make you laugh when you're pregnant.
Yeah, that's what no, that's what I was double checking, bro.
Amen.
They'll come out
Amen.
ready to invest.
Yes.
Hey.
Man.
I'm with that.
And they will not be sharing a bunk bed at 35.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honestly, big round of applause for every single one of the speakers, Emmanuel, Rachel, TJ, and Indy. We have to move on, but don't worry, because they are going to come back after a little bit. We've got a very, very special guest chat coming up with Jacqueline Brown's going to come back again. But yeah, don't forget, guys, that if you are here in person and you haven't done your feedback form, do your feedback form. Because if you don't do it, you won't be able to get any of the prizes. Ooh, yeah, so make sure you get those done. But thank you very much. We'll be back in a second.
Just make sure you get down the first lady.
Thank you.
All right. Wowza, 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 wowza. As a business owner myself, I learned so much from these guys. I mean, come on, just another round of applause while we just take a little pause, but we will come back to them. I mean, I learned things like, I think some of the key takeaways for me was study to understand money, education about money, financial literacy. Put money on assignment. That's what I like to say. I like to put my money on assignment, make it work for me. Find people to build with you and turn your competitors into collaborators. That one is just like gold. And the last one was grab the 10K over the dinner with Jay-Z. I think, come on now. You can take that money and make that work for you. That's a great one. So, with that said, I just want to quickly remind you, can you fill out your feedback forms? If you have to do it during this next section, please do that. Because what's going to happen is, when they do the Q&A, we're going to take those feedback forms and we're going to put it into the prize draw, and then our lovely speakers, when they come back up, they'll be able to pull out a name from the bucket. Everyone say, woohoo! Oh, come on now, people. I know you're going to be loud when you're in the club, so come on, woohoo! There you go. Thank you. All right. All right, back to seriousness now. I'm really excited to have this speaker come and join us. I just think what he's doing for the community is just, here in the UK, is priceless. It's not like another American. Sorry for the Americans here who may be here watching, but it's not like another American. It's one of our own Brits, you know. I just think he's doing amazing work. I'd just like to invite Swiss to come to the stage. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, that's your mic.
1, 2. Thank you. I know I look very overdressed. I'm actually going somewhere else after. So I'm not trying to impress any women in the building or, you know, upstand anyone.
I'm sure that many ladies here are impressed, right, ladies? Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so just to give a bit of insight. So Swiss is the founder of Black Pound Day. It's the UK's biggest economic movement that supports black-owned businesses. He's a cultural influencer, he's a business leader, an author, and highly acclaimed musician and member of So Solid Crew. Alongside his passion for music, Swiss founded the Black Pound Day movement to support awareness and growth of the black business and economy in the UK and the global diasporic communities. And recently, what I think is just like, I gotta say, badass, is that Swiss opened the first permanent retail store at Westfield, London. Come on now. It's Europe's biggest shopping centre. And it continues to actively support hundreds of businesses across the country. So I'm just really, really excited about that. I want to just say, you know what? On behalf of the black businesses I know, thank you for your, contribution.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's great work. So, firstly, congrats on the retail store. Maybe you can start by just sharing the journey. How did you get there? What was the steps from the concept to the reality, from the whole business through to the store? Give some background.
Well, the movement started when, after the death of George Floyd, after the murder of George Floyd, where I put out a song called Can't Breathe. I actually done a video to the song where I was playing the character of George Floyd. And some people almost saw it as a way to digest what happened instead of actually watching the real murder itself. 6 years prior, I made the song and put it out after the death of Eric Garner. And so, because they both said the same thing, I said to myself, I can't breathe. I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to put out this video because that's my way of protesting. And I'll see how people kind of take to it. And it put me in the conversation in the way that I wanted to be a part of it, whereby, you know, I put out this asset, very valuable asset, that kind of, you know, reenacted what happened. And, you know, from my influencer and musician industry, I had people looking, and I decided to kind of take the next step and say, you know what, I want to put this idea into the atmosphere, which I had maybe 13 years prior, where we pick a day where we support black businesses, one day a month, not just financially, but leaving a review, sending around those businesses to your network, you know, doing anything you can to basically give these businesses visibility, because I know we're in the post-pandemic era, not everyone's got money to spend. So there's other ways you can support these businesses. So I put that feeler out there. I got about 600 comments. And from there, I said, you know what, the next day, I'm going to put this idea out to the public. So I stayed up all night, spoke to two particular sisters that helped me with kind of the assets, my directives, what I wanted to say. And I gave myself about 2.5 hours sleep. Then I jumped in my car with my notebook and read from it what I envisioned Black Pound Day would give and be to the community. And that basically was the announcement video. And the first Black Pound Day was the 27th of June, 2020.
Wow.
We were celebrating 72 years of Windrush at the time. I'm a Caribbean. It made sense. You know, we don't really bring the economic conversation into the fold when it comes to the Windrush generation. We're pretty much celebrating coming off the boats and landing here. Do you get what I'm saying? But we're not speaking about money, and we're not speaking about our purpose for coming here, which was to rebuild the country. And, you know, we were economic migrants. So our whole purpose for coming here was to rebuild the economy. And, you know, now the conversation needs to be about rebuilding our community through economics. And so once that announcement went out, people were saying, where do we support these businesses? How do we find them? And so I basically created a directory, blackpoundday.uk. That evolved into a marketplace, you know, for ease of use and ease of spend and connecting with these businesses. You want to just buy from them, you know, from a click of a button. So created the marketplace, an Amazon type platform. And then the natural progression was to create a retail space to bring this online community that we've built up for the past 2 years and get them into a space where we can congregate with each other, spend with these businesses, and see these products in the flesh. And that's basically what we've been able to do with Westfield. For all the partners that we've worked with, they have come to us, whether it be Google, whether it be Gap, whether it be Westfield. You know, they came and just basically said, what do you see? What would you like to do? And in my head, I didn't really have opening up a retail space in mind at the time. But you can never miss up on an opportunity like that when Westfield's asking you, what do you want to do? So I'm like, of course we want to open a retail space. So that's basically how it came about. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Woo.
It's been pretty much like a long walk on a short path, you know?
Well, I think you've touched so many lives. I mean, how many people are in the network and how many are actually in the shop?
So we have 80 plus businesses in the shop. The categories range from skincare and beauty. Afrocentrics is in the store as well. Big up Rachel and the team. Children's toys and accessories, homeware, and books and family entertainment. So we try to give as much range as possible. I've been spending black for a while. I've been in loads of black spaces in the community. I know loads of, the black business people that I've been engaging with for, a big part of my life. So I kind of knew where things needed to go next when it came to retail. Most people that come into the shop are very surprised in how things are laid out and, what we've managed to get in store. So it's a very proud achievement for myself, my team, the community, and Westfield as well. They get to tick a box, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it ticks one of their boxes for sure. But I was, one of the things that I noticed, and I really, really, really wanted to have you here, was because I saw, obviously on top of the work that you're doing and following Black Pound Day, supporting it as a black-owned business, a black business owner, I saw a video and comment by Prince Charles at the time, now King Charles, which kind of accoladed the work that you're doing. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe he's done some, Swiss, he's a celebrity, isn't he? Maybe he's done some work with the Prince's Trust and got a little bit of money, a bit of support, and that's kind of how he's done. Because usually that's the story. People don't just start things on their own. Can we just let people know, were you part of the Prince's Trust? Did you gain funding, finance, grants, VC, anything?
No. So everything that's financially backed Black Pound Day has come from my own pocket. So I've got no grants, no association with the Prince's Trust. When that video came out, I was shocked myself. I didn't even know he did it. He did it like 6 months prior to us posting it.
Wow.
And it came up because I was doing some research and I found it and I was like, oh wow, let's post this tomorrow. And I knew it would, be controversial because it's the royal family. It's Prince Charles. They're very people have extreme views either side about them. So, but yeah, it was good to know. In one breath, the highest authority you could say in the land, the royal family, have turned their heads. Well, Black Pound Day has turned their heads, and his trust has been associated with it through the black entrepreneurs that they work with, and they've marked Black Pound Day through the work that they're doing. So it's good.
Amazing. It just shows that when you start stepping out, you start moving, you start to attract things, you start to magnetize different people, different, important people, even money will come, it will know your name, it will know your address, it will know what your bank account. So, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. There was, I don't know if any of you have read the Black Report or at least seen it of late, and it was by 10 by 10, and it was in partnership with Google for Startups. And they provided a qualitative report about black startup founders in the UK. And one of the things they said that black founders were able to raise funds used to fuel their business, but also to create much needed employment, on average 5.4 jobs. That's the bit that really stuck with me. I do a lot of business within Africa, and what I really love is the fact that the work that I do in Africa can touch other lives. It creates jobs, and then that creates more jobs within the community, and it brings trade to the continent. So that's really important for me. So the whole job creation, with your business, with what you've been able to do, how has that been able to specifically create jobs within the black community and build staff from diverse backgrounds?
If I can paraphrase Rachel, Rachel told us that, the money that Afrocentrics had made through Black Pound Day allowed them to employ 2 more people to their business, which is great to know. We have 80 plus businesses in our store, and through the distribution channels and how they get their products to them, I'm sure that there's loads of black people that are being financially supported by getting those products to us. There's a particular brand called Coco Crafts. I spoke to the guy that makes the fans that he brings into the country and sells, and he's growing his team through the work that we're doing with them. So I'm sure there's loads. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I'm sure there's loads of companies that have been able to financially grow their businesses, just like Afrocentrics has, through the Black Pound Day movement, and we're able to feed families. So yeah. Yes,
well deserved. Thank you.
So,
yeah. After you.
Just to add to that, I'll say another thing Rachel did say, which I like to speak about, and I think it's not only important for me and herself, but us as a community. On that first Black Pound Day, Afrocentrics made 5 figures through that Black
Come
Pound
on
Day
now.
code, yeah? And that was like...
me the money.
Yeah. So that was like, I think it was around 18 to 19,000 pounds just on that day they managed to make. And granted, they already had an established business and community, but it goes to show the power of our spend and what we can actually do with a day like Black Pound Day, where we all engage, we all get involved, and we see outcomes like this. So it was beautiful to hear that. And that was in the very beginning, you know. Even when I contacted them, they was like, is this really Swiss? You know, can I disclose this information? And I was like, yeah, it's me. So that was beautiful to hear. So, yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm sure people are right now on their phones looking up Black Pound Day to kind of register now so they can get on board. Can people still sign up to get on board?
They can, yeah. You can just go to the website. It's pretty simple to understand. You sign your business up. It will go to the back office, and we'll basically, you know, say yes or no based on what we see, and just take it from there. Yeah.
So everybody's going to be welcome. No, that's great. That's great. Please do go and check out the website, blackpoundday.co.uk.
Yeah. No, blackpoundday.uk. Someone took the .co.
Okay.
Yeah. By the time we tried to, you know, get that, someone took it. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know who it was.
Okay, so make sure blackpoundday.uk. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you share how you personally see the future of business for Black founders in the UK? Where do you see this going?
I'm in retail at the moment, so I think we can produce something like maybe like a black version of Chinatown, you know.
Nice one.
That would be great, you know. Our own little Westfield. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, because people were saying, you know, Black Pound Day is racist and all of this, and I said, what about Chinatown? You know, they're a community that are basically projecting nationalism in a land that's not their own, but they're able to do that and no one's complaining. That's been there for years. I'm sure every one of us has probably gone past or gone through there, bought something, if not just looked and marvel at what they've managed to achieve there. So I think we can do pretty much the same thing. I think the more businesses that do use Black Pound Day, the bigger the movement will be, the more international it will be, and the more our businesses will grow, the more it will become normalized and part of the an institution, you know, within the black community that can continue to just be there and become habitual and normalized. Because our children are watching, and it's something that any age group can get involved in any sector of society. Political, community, commercial, you know, the influencers, business owners, children come in the store and engaged, and they say, it's the best store I've ever been in. You know what I'm saying? Grandparents come in, people my mum's age, they see the dolls. I never had anything like this before. Oh my gosh, wow. They want to buy it just for the fact that they couldn't buy it when they was young. They never had this option. One of the ladies that came in said that she used to paste one of her dolls with what was it, some black substance, you know, just to make it black so that, you know, the doll looked like her. And yeah, those sort of stories are just very touching. So I just think the more that, you know, we engage with Black Pound Day as businesses, as consumers, understanding that £300 billion a year that we are committing and disinvesting from our businesses and putting into other businesses can be invested into our businesses, and we'll see a big change within a lifetime. I remember a speech Martin Luther King gave, where he gave the strategy. He gave the dream in 1963, he gave the strategy in 1968, and some people say that that's the message that got him killed, you know? And his strategy was basically, look, we got to disinvest from some of these companies that we're putting money into that are seeing our plight and not doing anything to help us. And he told his congregation at the time in Memphis in the church, you know, stop buying Coca-Cola, stop buying Wonder Bread, stop indulging in these companies that have no investment in our own community but are drawing money out. And at the time, I think the value of the income of Black America at the time was 30 billion. And it's almost like it was like the ninth, if it was a country, if the community of Black America were a country, it would be the ninth richest country in the world at that time. Do you understand? And now the spending power of Black America is 1.4 trillion. you know?
Wow.
So we have
How many zeros that is?
we have a lot of spending power in our community, so it's about a conscious change, a conscious effort to change the habits and thinking that we're doing and reinvesting in our community. And then a lot of the problems that we complain about with young people doing things on the streets or, you know, not having that community feel, those problems will start to fall away and we'll start to see some changes.
I love the vision. I think that's something that we all kind of hope for to see, you know, to see that change. So what kind of things what's your next step plans with Black Pound Day? Where do you see it going next? More retail stores?
Yeah, I think it's about opening up more retail spaces. People are coming from all over the country. A woman came from Scotland
Wowza.
just to come to the store and see it for herself, buy some products and say, yeah, take a picture and say, yeah, I came, I was here. You know, regionally, there's people coming from everywhere. So I think it's about expanding these retail spaces regionally. We have a strong following in Birmingham, strong following in Manchester, Bristol, wherever the black community is concentrated and congregated. We want to go to those spaces first. Yeah, you know, expand those retail spaces there.
And then within the business itself, are you going to be looking for investment? Are you planning to do more work outside of retail? What else is coming up?
Yes. In terms of the investment question, I don't think I want to answer that right now. But what was your second question?
What else is coming up? Because you spoke about a charity arm and things like this.
Yes. Yeah, I'm kind of working on opening up a charity arm at the moment, which I wasn't really supposed to say publicly, but it's all good. You know, and yeah, just building upon the direction that we're going now, which is the retail space. I've learned a lot in this space. I have no retail background myself, but I do have a sales background.
Even when you was younger?
No, I did a bit of paper round. I worked in the candle factory in Battersea for a short stint.
Okay.
But I've been selling my whole life in terms of selling myself. You know, I'm a musician, and basically anything we could get our hands on, you know, in the community, in the hood, where we come from, you know, legal stuff, obviously, you know, we were trying to make money. So, you know, that's part of my makeup, that's part of my journey. And I feel like I'm really good at it, you know. That's why I'm on the shop floor.
Obviously.
I'm on the shop floor, you know. It's a new business, so I have to be. A lot of people come in sometimes and they're shocked that I'm there. They're like, why are you here? Before being an influencer or so-called celebrity, I'm a hustler. Do you understand? And I'm a salesman. And I understand when I start something new, I have to be 10 toes on the ground to make sure that I see this thing through and create the culture within the space that will follow it through, you know, towards in its growth, you know what I'm saying, in its arc, you know, the growth and the arc. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm in the store, you know, a lot. And so please come down, come and see us, the Black Pound Day store, Westfield, White City, yeah.
Make sure you go down, people. Make sure you go down. I was asked this question recently in a podcast and interview, and I'm going to ask you as well. If someone was writing a book about your life, I guess, yeah, there's a book and there's a movie question, but if someone's writing a book about your life, what would that book be called?
I say belief, probably. Just belief, yeah. Because I had to believe in myself and the power of my voice, my brand, and my message to put Black Pound Day into fruition. It was a time when our community was like, what do we do now? We had the advent of the Black Square, and that was fine, taking a day off work, but it wasn't strong and sustainable enough for us to look to the future and say, yeah, this is something that we can hold on to. That was a one-day thing. And, you know, when that passed, I was like, I got this idea, and I believe that it can work. I just have to have the courage to walk out on the limb, put it out there, and see what the community do with it. Do you get what I'm saying? And then use my celebrity and influencer community from my music industry to magnify and multiply the message to their followers and hopefully, and the platforms as well. You know, I come from a music background, so I was calling on our Link Up TVs, our GRM, rest in peace, Jamal Edwards, SBTV, you know, and you know, that belief came to fruition, you know. So I'll say belief, and I've always believed in myself, and I feel like this vision was given to me so that I can, you know, use myself as a vessel to bring it forth to the community, and obviously it's working.
I gotta love this guy. Love the vision. That's just amazing. Seriously, seriously. So belief, belief, belief. I don't know if you got any time, 5-10 minutes for any questions? Okay, so wasn't sure if we're going to have time for any questions for Swiss himself, but did anyone have any questions? Maybe just like 2 from the audience. If anybody has a question, just raise your hand, and then just somebody from the team will come over to you. You can use this mic. Anybody have any questions? Who had their hand up?
Thank you. Swiss, thank you for being here with us. I might have missed you saying this because I stepped out for a bit, but Black Pound Day, is that once a year or once a month?
So Black Pound Day is the first Saturday of every month. And I chose the first Saturday because it's the first weekend after payday. So there's no excuses for anyone not to spend with a black business on that day. But yeah, at first, I think, you know, my vision was to put that idea out there. And I think I started as you know, maybe it should be once a year. But to have that longevity and that sustainability, it needed to have that cyclical once a month thing going on, and not a Christmas moment or a Valentine's Day moment or a Black Friday moment. It needed to be a movement, you know, it's a movement, not a moment. So the first Saturday of every month is Black Pound Day.
Okay, thank you for your question. If you say your name as well as you get the question, there's a gentleman over. Okay.
Thanks. Hi, Swiss. My name is Tendai from Black Calendar UK. You're located in Westfield, White City, right?
Yeah, definitely not Stratford.
Yeah,
because
cool.
some people have gone there
Exactly.
and then found themselves confused, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you know that there's going to be a roller skating ring called Flippers opening there next month. So it'd be great if you can have some kind of involvement, partnership with them. I know some black skaters, or actually black own-run skaters, so like they sell skates, skate bearings. So it'd be great if people that come from around the world to this new skate ring, which is going to be 7 days a week, it'd be great if they can also come to you, you know, for some products. That'd be great if I can maybe link up with you, because I work extensively with them.
Where is it going to be placed in Westfield?
I'm not too sure exactly, but it's very close to the actual.
To the centre, yeah? Okay,
yeah.
cool, yeah. Well, I'll definitely be speaking to them about that. Yeah,
Perfect,
thank you,
lovely.
thank you. And there's a big movement, the Unity Bike Ride, that was inspired by Black Pound Day as well. They've done 3 bike rides. It happens once a year. They ride from North London down to South, and it's a very powerful way of, you know, continuing the protest and black unity. And yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I've got friends involved in that. It's really good. I'm rubbish on the bike, but
Yeah.
roller skates,
And roller skate, it would be great to have, you know, some involvement with the roller skates. The reason why I mentioned it as well, you know, some sort of unity skate ride, or, you know, involving ourselves with the bike ride as skaters.
Okay, just one last.
Right. Wouldn't it be great if you established a Black Pound Foundation utilizing some of the very great talent that we have here this evening, the Black Pound Foundation?
Yeah, it would, yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's talk. We're working together in some way, shape or form already. You know, we still have time to grow and create more things as Black Pound Day. So we'll be calling on the usual suspects to help us with our growth. And yeah.
There's a lady at the. Okay.
Why don't we take both? Yeah.
Okay, so this gentleman in the
yeah,
black, and then the lady right at the back as well in black.
Thank you. My name's Kill Hunt. First, I want to thank you for your conversation today, brother, because I actually live 5 minutes from the Westfield White City, and you wouldn't know this, but when I walked past it, I said, I hope a black person owns that, you know, because I was thinking, no one can be prophet of a community like that. So when I heard that it was you, my brother, I was like, that's the great thing. But I want to ask you, as a brother who's obviously been in the music business for 10, 20 plus years and has really had to navigate at a time when business and music wasn't really happening for our community, what kind of lessons and what kind of gems did you learn at that time that really helped you to excel at this point in your life to help you to establish what you have established today?
Having a strong team around you, Soul Salary is a strong team. And whatever we did, our presence was felt because of the numbers. So you have people to engage with in your network. Steve Jobs says, don't build a business, build a community. So we had our own network and community that we built around each other, had meetings weekly, and was able to hold ourselves accountable. Do you get what I'm saying? As young black men at the time. And we were, looking over the pond at America, seeing what they was doing, making sure our videos were as sleek as they were, making sure our music was up to par, and just looking at the greats and holding ourselves accountable. So I'd say get a good team around you. Obviously, we live in a direct-to-consumer landscape at the moment. Build your community through that means, and just believe in yourself and continue to learn and grow.
I think it's the whole economic empowerment, collaboration, all of that again. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. And the lady at the back?
Hi, my name is Joella from Talker Taylor. I'm just wondering, have you used or would you ever use a PR agency to elevate your brand?
Oh, yeah. We've definitely been using since the beginning. So when I was on Sky News, the day before Black Pound Day, it was the day of Black Pound Day, I got that through the PR agency that we were using. So, PR is definitely important. And I have been using a PR agency through some of the different activations and partnerships that we've had going through the last 2 years.
A little shameless plug, but we at the BIPC have a workshop coming up all about PR skills. So if you go check out bl.uk/BIPC, you can find out the workshops that we've got coming up on PR and more. So just a little shameless plug.
Can we just take this last brother's question? I know he had his hand up for a while. So
Go for it. If you got the time, thank you.
No worries.
Hey, Marshall. First of all, I just want to congratulate you on the great work you've been doing. I remember when I first saw Black Pound Day on Facebook, and now to know that you guys have your actually first retail place, I think is really an achievement. Since now, of course, the vision is to expand the retail activities. I would love to ask you a question about IP. As somebody that has been in the music industry, that understands the value of IP, intellectual property, and since we happen to be in the business and IP center, have you taken care of the IP of Black Pound Day?
Yes, we have, yeah. So if you look online, if you look at our trademark, and if you look at all the list of things that we've covered, you'll see it there. We've taken good care of that, and that actually came through a friend that was helping me. You can't do everything. When you start a business, there's so many different things to think of. Your brain can become stressed with all the amounts of things that you have on your plate, especially with such a visible movement like what I have. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pressure. But my friend kind of helped me with the IP side of things and made sure that, we protected the business. So yeah, that's covered.
I think that was a perfect point to end on, actually. So protect your business, maybe even more important for Black-owned businesses. Any just final last words of encouragement, or for those planning to start up a Black enterprise, business, whatever it may be?
Create something meaningful that you believe in, that's purposeful, because you're going to need the grit to go through the different stages and hurdles and ups and downs. And it's only something purposeful that can take you through that journey. If you listen to any entrepreneur that has a purposeful business, they will let you know that on those days when I was down, it was my belief in my purpose and myself that got me through. Start something purposeful, create a community of people that have the same values and purpose as you, because they're going to believe in what you're doing. And and take those people along with you and grow, and that's basically what we've done. As I said, create a community, not a business, and you'll create a strong business and you'll create a strong community because you have people that share those values and share that purpose with you. And that would be my advice.
Please give him a round of applause. Wow. Personally, thank you for the time. I know you've got somewhere else to go right now, but really appreciate that you're here tonight. It means a lot for the community, for us at the British Library, the BIPC, doing our first event, live event, after how many years since the pandemic. So, really appreciate that you are part of this, especially during Black History Month. I want to say thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, as Swiss makes his way off the stage, I want to just invite our guest speakers, our panel speakers, back onto the stage with Kai to help moderate the questions. So if you've got a question for our panel speakers, please do get yourself ready, and then we will... Oh, thank you, Noel. Everybody say hello to Noel over there in the red top. Noel is a very important part of this team, as well as Jordan, Luke, Katerina, Eva, Uta, Isabel, all part of the BIPC team. Okay. Okay. So please get your questions ready.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Oh, yeah, Emmanuel's a networker.
Where did he go?
Both are scammers, both of you. Both acting like you're shy and stuff.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it. Listen, mean the world to me. I will do, definitely. Thanks a lot, yeah?
Introvert
Take care, see you later. Thank you.
Introvert who? You're there with your politician hand. Did you see? So what we must do is empower the next generation. Mate.
Sorry, I'm just waiting to make sure all the forms are in, but I was doing a quick scan and people are already ready for their questions, so please get ready, because it's going to be a free-for-all
You're smart, man.
as soon as
I'm a
these forms
fan
are in.
first,
Just whilst I wait, another big round of applause for our speakers, please, guys. Honestly, the wealth of knowledge that you guys have between the four of you is immense, especially for someone who's trying to turn their theatre company into a charity and all of doing all those things is honestly invaluable. So thank you. Are all the forms in? Yeah? Great, we don't know. But I guess that's ready. So, all right. Let's kick things off then. Woo! Straight in, go on then. Yes. We'll wait for the arrival of the microphone.
Coming with beef.
But I told you not to be quick, and you lacked again. So I can't. I'm sorry.
Is that water free, am I?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, panel. It's been absolutely wonderful. I just wanted to ask a question to maybe all of you. I used to work in schools, and one of the things that always used to happen was so many careers days were just, and I have nothing against the army or nurses or the usual things that they have to come into areas where it's more underprivileged, where they seem to be recruiting our black children to go into these, no, don't say mediocre, but into the usual careers. And I'm just wondering, what do any of you do, apart from being on social media, what do you do for children in schools to show that you can do something different with your life and be successful in different fields?
Oh, can I take this?
Go on then. Go on then.
That is a fantastic question. I've also worked in schools, so I've only been full-time on Afrocentrics for 3 years. Before that, I worked in the corporate world as a data analyst. Then I worked in primary schools and secondary schools. My husband's a teacher. And I hear you. It's a big issue now. And I remember when I was in school, and I grew up in, I lived in a council house. I was on free school meals. I had the water as a meal that we've discussed, right? So I grew up broke. And I remember when I was applying for universities, I said, oh, like I might apply for Oxbridge, because I would get top grades all the time, right? And the teacher was like, don't think you can. And I remember saying, okay, maybe I'll apply for Leicester. And she said, well, you're not going to get in if you can't even spell Leicester, are you? And that stuck with me. That was how many years ago? Like more than 15 years ago, and it still sticks in my head. I ended up getting 2 very good degrees from 2, top 10 universities. But it's stuck with me, right? And I don't want the next generation to experience that. I don't want my kids, all 4 of them, oh my gosh, to experience that. So there's several things I do. So I support different charities. There's a charity called DebateMate that I worked for at university, where I would go into inner city schools and basically teach the kids. I used to go to detention club to recruit from detention because they were my kids, my people. And I'd teach them to debate. And we've had some of our DebateMate kids then go on to go to Eton, to get into Oxbridge, you know. And that's not the be-all and end-all, but it's showing people that that change can happen. A lot of our kids go on to become mentors before they go into, you know, the working world. So I still do stuff with DebateMate all the time. I'm doing an event with them next week. If you can, get involved with DebateMate. They're an amazing charity. I also just sometimes work directly with schools. If a school contacts me and wants me to speak, I try and do it, and I'll do that pro bono. Or sometimes we have school kids come into Afrocentrics HQ, and you see the shock on people's faces. My team is mainly black women. And that's not something you see very often, right? So they're kind of shocked to see, there's a black woman in a lab coat. We're like, what's going on? So there are so many things that you can do, but obviously your time is precious, right? So I'd say pick the cause that is really close to your heart. And for me, children are the future. I'm going to be cheesy there. I think it's so important for us to not only be the change we want to see, but make sure that's visible and really like show it to the kids. Now there's publications like there's Coco Kids Mag, and Swiss's daughter writes for them. She does such a great job. So that's the kind of thing that you can get involved in. You can like offer to do, you know, a free article, that kind of thing. There's so much you can do. DM me on Twitter if you need ideas.
Can I answer this as well? This is such a topic that's close to my heart. And so one of the things I actually do is earlier this year, I had the opportunity to become an advisor to the Prime Minister. And the topic of conversation is how do we get entrepreneurship back into education to allow young people to actually allow their dreams to come true? And how do we ensure that they get their education, but they still also dream big? So I have the opportunity to meet with various ministers to actually talk about what it means to empower the up-and-coming generation, and not just ensure they have hard skills, but the soft skills. And when I say soft skills, not just public speaking, but how do you think creatively? How do you find that inner confidence within yourself to know that you can achieve anything if you work? Some of us have to work harder than others, but everything takes work. In order, everyone has to pay to eat. You get to decide how well you eat. And so this has been such a powerful conversation for me. And since then, I now mentor. It's such an important thing for me to go into schools and ensure that actually I stand in front of young people and I say, you can. Because for me, I'm a black lady in tech. That's rare. That is still rare. It shouldn't be, but it still is. But I get to work with a team. I lead 13 managers across UK and Africa who set up programs, who empower, you know, people to create the businesses that are changing this world. And so for me to be able to work with young people and be like, you can do anything, and I'm here to help you, that is such a powerful thing for me. So mentorship is also a big one. Be advocates. If there's something that needs to be said, say it, and say it with confidence, because we are the ones that are breaking down those barriers that create impact and change the world, so that our legacy don't have to deal with the same things that we dealt with. We are lucky because we have a certain amount of freedom right now, but that's only because of the work that was done for us. So.
Oh, we've got the next question ready. Yes. Yes.
Evening. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared. My name is Buki. I work in public policy, and I'm trying to sort of craft out my next steps in terms of possibly becoming an entrepreneur. I have a question probably for TJ, if that's okay, but I'd be grateful to hear anybody else's thoughts. And it might sound a bit coloured, but that's not my intention, and I hope, I think it's clear that you guys have spoken about value systems that underpin each of the things that you do. And speaking as someone who hopes when she gets her money up to look at property, I wonder, TJ, what your process has been like in terms of establishing your value system in terms of housing. I come from a policy background, so I'm particularly aware of the concerns about the housing market and what the landlord ownership structure does for accessibility to housing and things like that. So I'd be grateful to know what your processes look like for you and whether you have a response to that criticism, if I could put it like that.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't know what value system means. So you might want to re-explain the question so I can answer it better. I didn't hear a criticism either, so I'm not sure where the beef is. I can't hear you.
So you'll know better than I that house prices, the way that accessibility to housing at the moment is very problematic. Sure. And there's a criticism that this structure where landlords can buy multiple properties clogs up the housing market and makes it inaccessible for people who just want to own the house that they live in. So that would be the criticism.
Cool, okay.
And value systems, and just in terms of doing what you think is right in response to that kind of concern.
Cool. Yeah, no, I get that completely. So you guys tune in tomorrow. So I'm on the BBC tomorrow, live TV at 6:30, literally addressing this situation. There is a lot of hate, and I have a lot of fights on TikTok all the time. I love it. The TikTok generation, they all want to fight. And none of them can see me face to face and fight, but on the internet, like, oh. So I find it fascinating because a lot of people, for some reason, believe that landlords are what they call parasites. That's the word that they use for landlords. And it baffles me because if we look at it realistically, in my opinion, landlords are one of the first people that are, number one, doing the government's job of providing housing. Yeah. Number two, we're providing humans with the most basic needs, which is shelter. Yeah. It sounds as if, or people make it sound like we just found money from somewhere. And somehow we found this money, we didn't work hard for it, and we bought all the properties. But if we're going to be fair, your issue isn't with landlords. Your issue is with policy. Your issue is with the banks. Your issue is with people like Sadiq Khan. No shade. Yeah, actually shade. I'm speaking to him tomorrow. Your issue is with people like Sadiq Khan that want to introduce things like rent control. Rent control is only going to exacerbate the situation. Landlords like myself, I will willingly give up or sell my property if rent control comes into place. Landlords don't make as much money as people perceive them to make. So people's issue is not landlords. Your issue in some cases, and I hope that people don't misconstrue this, get your money up in some form. I don't know how you do it. I'm not your problem. The problem is maybe you don't know how to buy the property. So these are the things that I actually teach. I might as well plug myself. I teach people creative ways in which to buy property. It's not because I've got a lot of money that I can buy 7 properties in 10 months. It's because I've spent time to understand the different ways. I can give you guys one of them right now. There's something called an AS. AS means assisted sale. If you don't have a lot of money, you can help somebody sell their property and make the estate agent's commission. Literally simple as that. You make £3,000 to £30,000. It's the understanding about how landlords, creative landlords like myself, are making money. And I think it will shift people's perspective a lot. Just the last thing. One of my properties I get £600 a month on. After I pay all the cost, which is mortgage, insurance, putting money aside for broken washing machines and so, I make £120 per month, which is absolutely nothing because governments are going to introduce new policies. So I can't spend that money. I put it aside. So this illusion or this idea that landlords are hoarding all these properties, landlords are just like, they're humans. We're just like everyone else that worked hard in some form and managed to put our money to other things. Some people spend their money on other stuff. Yeah? I don't know, I still didn't answer the value system thing, but yeah, cool.
I think the team are on it now. So is the next question is you at the back, yeah? Go ahead, there've been quite a few on here as well.
Hi. Good evening. Thank you very much, firstly. My name's Jemima. I'm actually here for 3 purposes. Academically, because I'm studying part-time, as well as working full-time. And my module at uni this term is actually economics, after being persuaded by my coach. But I'm really, really finding it very fascinating. And I'm learning about finance, I'm learning about economics. Professionally, I work for a charity called the Education and Training Foundation. just off the question one of the ladies posed earlier, she asked about going into schools, and you've all responded really positively. Personally, I'm also trying to set up my own personal business in terms of being an entrepreneur, so there's lots to learn. One of the things I've found, though, reaching into my own community from construction, engineering, and digital particularly, is actually being able to engage with Black individuals or Black community to speak to teachers in the charity that I work for about the sector that you work in. So we are running a program where we support 16 to 19-year-olds on new qualifications called T-levels, and I think this lady at the end, Jackie, you may know about it because you're working with the Prime Minister, and you all may have heard about it. But we work with the educators, we work with staff members, principals, vice principals, and teachers. I would love to engage with you and be very interested to just, even if you had 30 minutes, to host a workshop online to speak to some of our staff so that we can change the perspective and smash the rhetoric, engaging with skills, looking at skills so that they can take that back into their classrooms. I would be delighted to break through that glass ceiling by speaking with even one of you on the panel. So I just wanted to know how I go about doing that. Thank you.
My email is indie.gordon@foundervine.com. I will give you all the time. This is such an important thing. I am fortunate enough to lead a company that has access to around, our community is currently around 10,000 founders, entrepreneurs, with a large population of them being Black leaders who are changing their world. We started off as a company that's solely focused on tech, but we've now shifted to empower and ensure that everyone is tech-enabled, but also ensure that we can develop talent, and also ensure that we are helping all types of businesses to ensure impact. So for me, you have my time. I'm bad with my emails, but I have an executive assistant who will help with that, and I will give you my time because it is absolutely such a powerful and important thing we do. Because if we want to see change, we need to put that into the current education system and the people that are going through it. So I'll give you my time.
I'll say something. So, interestingly, just based on your question, yeah, sorry, what's your name? Yeah, Paula. Paulette. Sorry. So Paulette was talking about going into school. So interestingly, I went into a school today, just up the road, Westminster Kingsway College, and I spoke to.
Debate mate there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I spoke to the kids there today about finance and property investing. So I go to one or two schools when I get the chance. I find it really interesting for someone that talks about property and finance. I think there's a lot of pressure on parents, a lot of pressure on teachers and the community to teach kids about finance and property. I do not believe it's the school's responsibility. Go into the schools, beefing these kids, trying to change their perspective. Again, no shade at Swiss, but they don't all have to be rappers. Does that make sense? Again, no shade because you made it as well. But the point I'm trying to make is, going in there and saying, you can invest in property, you can change the narrative, you can make money, but I think that lies fundamentally at home. I think we, as the adults, we need to do better financially, learn about money, get our confidence up so we can actually talk to our kids. The issue many adults face is, we're kind of scared to talk to our kids about money. Because your kid knows, and they've seen that red letter slide through the letterbox. They know mum and dad are struggling to pay bills. So where do you find the confidence to tell your child, don't spend all your money on A, B, C, D, E, and F? So I think we need to do a lot within ourselves, learn about money, understand money, so that our children emulate, as opposed to having to put the pressure on third parties to teach your kids. So again, it sounds crazy. I do not believe schools should be teaching it. School system was created for a purpose, to teach us how to go into higher education and to go into the workforce. It doesn't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't teach you how to think creatively. It doesn't teach you how to be critical with your thinking. So how do you expect a teacher, no shade at teachers, to teach that specifically when their agenda is also something different? So yes, going into schools is amazing, but at the same time, I think we need to do a lot more at home as well. and don't allow the streets or the community solely to teach our kids. Don't fight me, guys. That's
One question. Sorry. Before, I have to rebuttal that. Sorry, I disagree.
Yep.
Me and TJ, we're best friends, but we disagree all the time. I disagree because I think for me, especially financial literacy, that has to be taught at school. Because what's the first thing, like you said, if you don't go to university, you go get a job. If you don't understand how bills work, how money works, how to save, how to budget, that's a life skill. That's what, to me, that has to be taught at school, number one. Now, I agree with you, not necessarily teachers need to be the one teaching it, because a lot of them are struggling with their bills themselves. So there's a confidence that might be an issue. But for me personally, I go into schools, I give talks, and it helps. Because again, you say parents, but teenage kids, a lot of the time, they do not want to hear it from you. I remember I did not want to hear it. It doesn't matter what my parents, I remember when my mum was telling me, buy a house. The fact that she told me I didn't want to buy a house. There's just a point in your life, it doesn't matter if you're making the most sense in the world, I don't want to hear it from you. You've kept me prisoner for the last 17 years. Do you know what I mean? I'm finally free. Okay. So for me, there needs to be people that these young kids can relate to. When I go to a school, I sit down and I tell them, listen, I left secondary school with 4 GCSEs and a letter from my head of year. That's how I got into college. I left college with a C, D, and an E. I left university with a 3rd class. My dad didn't even want to take a picture of me because he said, do they celebrate 3rd class? Do you understand? How are we taking pictures for 3rd class? Wow. Yeah? But I got a job, still became the youngest financial advisor in Barclays in the country at age 22. And millionaires, and I've had 1 billionaire pay me to tell them what to do with money. When you tell a young kid that a millionaire is paying somebody with 4 GCSEs, they understand that they're not defined by their education. They understand I used to be the guy that got kicked out of class. And now I added that same attitude that used to make everyone laugh in class with a skill, and today I get paid to do the exact same thing that I used to get kicked out for, but in the right environment. I agree. I shared the story with the guys earlier about how I had a young guy come to me and he said, I want to become an expert because I look up to you and I never knew that I could be an expert. I always thought if I wanted to be on TV, I have to be a rapper, I have to be a singer, I have to be a sports person. I want to be an expert. And he's like, I love science. And he told his friends, and his friends all laughed at him, you want to be an expert, you can't be an expert, that's nerdy or whatever. And then he said, but E-Man's an expert. And they were like, oh yeah, E-Man's cool, so yeah, you can be an expert. Do you know what the difference is that sometimes you just got to see somebody that sounds like you, that looks like you, that talks like you in these positions to let you know that it's possible. And if that's not happening in school, I don't know where else is happening.
Whoa. No, you go.
I'd love to have this back and forth, but
just to give my email address.
Oh, okay.
So we can take this beef offline.
Yeah, we'll take it.
So super busy at the moment, but send it to admin@afrocentrics.com and my PA will pick it up and we'll get you scheduled in. Cool. Yeah.
I agree with Emmanuel, by the way. I agree. No beef. I agree. I misspoke. Teachers shouldn't be teaching it. Okay. Individuals who know should be teaching it. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Look, we've got time for one more. I believe it's the lady over here. We've already got a mic. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Natasha. I work in the wellbeing sector. So I wanted to ask a question about you saying about building the black economic culture. I believe that there's more that needs to be done with the way that we think as black people, because how are we going to learn how to build in that way if our mindsets are poor or broken mindsets? So what would you say, me being from the wellbeing sector, what would you say that is needed to go into the black communities to help them to have a different mindset?
I can take that.
Very good.
Yeah, I can. So I'm going to be quick so we don't have time. I read a scientific study, most fascinating thing I've ever read. I'm going to talk very, very fast. It's by someone called Ken Diaz and Ressler. And you guys are going to love this stuff. You might not, but I do. So they took mice, yeah? And they associated these mice with a certain smell. Yeah? Well, yeah, cool. Because I've been researching this stuff. So it was, let's make up a smell. It was cherry blossom smell, that's what it was. And then these mice would then get electrocuted when they smelt it. So they join that smell with a pain, associated pain. Then, sorry guys, this is fascinating. Then the grandkids, the children of the mice years later would also, although they never smelt that same thing, they had that same associated pain when they came across that thing. The grandkids and the further grandkids also had the same reaction when they smelt that thing, although they had never come in contact with that smell. What we found out was DNA structures were able to change. Oh, this is the best story ever. You guys stay here forever. Yeah? DNA structures changed. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this. If we look at it even from the Black and African point of view, but if we look at it, I don't know how deep I can get with regards to that, but if we look at it with regards to the data that's passed down, does that make sense? Our parents know this piece of information. Whether it's intentional, whether it's subconscious, whether it's conscious, that data is passed down through us. A lack of belief about money. Whose parents have said money doesn't grow on trees? Yeah? Yeah? Whether they said it or not, they've acted in a certain way, which has become a part of how we behave. So to go back and deal with mindset, you've got to catch those things. You've got to understand where those narratives came from, and you've got to actively work on rechanging them. One of my most favorite books in this world is a book by a man called Shard Helmstetter. Please buy it. Yeah, he doesn't pay me for this. Shard Helmstetter. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Yeah? Because we're always having a conversation with ourselves. And most of the conversation we have is just rehashed data that our parents have given us before. And there's a second book, actually. It's a book called Untangling Success by some guy called TJ Atkinson, myself. Yeah? That book changes your narrative. It changes everything about how you think about money and yourself. Yeah? Cool.
10-second reply. Knowledge is power. This is really important. Cheeky plug. Join the Afrocentrics book club. Ooh. So we've just launched a book club in collaboration with Pan Macmillan, who are one of the big 5 publishers. This month, our box is Black History themed, and we've got 2 amazing books by Black British authors. One is Black Voices on Britain. That's the non-fiction, so it's a set of essays. And the other is An Ocean Apart, which is fiction, and it's about a Windrush generation nurse who comes over from Barbados and her story. And what we do with our book club is we send you the box, you get some nice Afrocentrics treats, you get the books, and then we come together and we have a discussion with the authors, and you get to really broaden your mind, right? So I think those things are so important, reading the right books, but having the right community and the right safe spaces to discuss those things. So just Google Afrocentrics book club box and you'll see it.
Deserves one of these.
Thank you.
Love it.
That is all the time we have for the questions, guys. I'm sorry, but big round of applause again for our speakers for, again, the wealth of knowledge that they have this evening. It's exceptional.